Hello, today's review is kind of holiday for me. I waited for the iBasso DX220 since the first rumors appeared over the internet. And now I finally able to review it. Of course, I won't be the first one, there are a few good reviews already, but anyway, I can't avoid sharing my joy. I washed my neck, put on the best t-shirt, and now I'm ready to tell about this dub. Previous version of iBasso flagship DX200 was released in 2017, and since then it gathered a lot of attention in the audiophile community. iBasso implemented a really good dub with nice replaceable amplifier system, and they succeed in creating the really solid lineup, having like 8 or 9 amplifier models already, all offering pretty unique and interesting features. But of course DX200 is a great player, but there is always a room for improvement, and that's why iBasso decided to release 220. Its price is almost the same, it's $900. If I remember right, it's really close to DX200. Maybe $30 more or something like that. I don't remember exact figures, but anyway, price is really close. And they kept some good ideas, good findings. For example, they still using dual Saber 9028 as digital tonal converters. They still offering dual boot mode and sharing a lot of familiar features with DX200, but they upgraded also a lot of things both internally and externally. And now let's have a closer look. Box has similar design with DX200, but a bit different materials. This part now has interesting metal effect, and internal part is now having really noble dark red color. Fit of the package is really great, so it's really unfolding slowly, but it's really enjoyable. And it can be open, internal box opens this way. Box organization is similar to the previous version. Looks pretty stylish. It's kind of a lesson for the Astral and Kern for their dubs that costs about $1,000 or more. And here is player itself. It's held by this gluey thing, and here we'll have case. iBasso is really kind company. They don't try to save every single penny. So nice, high quality brown leather case is supplied with player. You don't have to pay extra. Also there are protective sticker and even hard protective glass, and card with information that it supports MQA. It definitely supports, and not only software rendering but also unfolding, so it's one of the best dubs in terms of MQA support. Cables. As usual, we will have burn-in cable, RCA coaxial adapter, and of course USB-C cable. Actually, I think this is not a box, it's just some filler so the box will hold tightly. So as you can see, accessory set is maximum, so you will have case, you will have all necessary cables, protective screens, so everything that you can desire for the dub. In terms of design, of course, DX220 has some similarities with previous models, but actually, in everyday usage, and even at the first look, you will notice that it's a huge step forward. So to make it more obvious, I will probably put titanium version of DX200 here. Surprisingly, iBasso made the screen bigger, and at the same time player is a bit smaller. So if we compare size, it's about half centimeter shorter and about the same in width and a bit slimmer. Weight is the same, and they actually made design much more modern. They remove all that bezels around the screen. Screen is almost bezel-less, and it gives you no sense of next step. A bit different tint of body, a bit more bluish kind of gray. Another type of volume regulator. It's still the wheel with encoder, but it's not covered with this protector like here. Also, they also have 3 buttons for playback control. On-off button is here, and other controls are pretty similar to the previous version. So it's USB-C, it can be used for charging, to connect to external DAC, to use DX220 as digital to-analog converter, to access USB on the go drives, and so on. Also there is a SPDIF out. So actually, if we speak about USB-C, it supports all quick charge standards, so it can be charged really quickly, and battery lifetime is stated to be from 8 hours to 10, but I usually got about 7 hours. But actually it's a new device, so probably battery can improve. Also, I'm actively using screen now, so of course it will depend on the screen usage. Micro SD card slot, it supports all micro SD cards, and it has 64 gigabytes of internal memory. And also it uses AMP1 Mark II, upgraded version of stock AMP1 amplifier, with modifications similar to the one that used here, but with some other additions. So there is line out, phone out, and balanced output. It's compatible with all other amp models, of course, besides design, because now they're using a bit different back panel. It's not, it's shiny now. You can see it's reflective. But anyway, iBasso promised that they will release swappable stickers for the back panel to make all the amp models matching the overall design of the DX220. Back panel is also a bit upgraded. As you can see, it's all covered with glass-like plastic, and now Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antennas are bigger. They are put here outside the main DAB body. It allows the player to have less interference and better connectivity. Speaking about connectivity, they've upgraded Bluetooth to the 5.0 version, so it has much bigger Bluetooth range. Of course, it supports LDAC codec. It can be used as a transmitter and receiver, so everything is really good here in terms of wireless interfaces, in terms of all other stuff. Internally, it uses the same system on chip that the previous version, if I remember right, but now it has 4 gigabytes of RAM, so overall operation system stability and smoothness improved. But now let's turn player on, and I will show probably the most impressive part about it. It's the screen. As the operation system, it uses Android Oreo with reworked Mango player, and it has also separate Mango mode. I will cover all software details in the next section of this review. So it's not the maximum brightness, but still screen is really bright, and it's really great. It has great resolution, really good color depth, and of course it's full HD. So resolution is probably the best. It's really responsive, so everything works really nicely and really smoothly. Probably it's the best player in terms of screen, in terms of display now. So here is Mango player, just started to show you. But anyways, you can see in terms of design, in terms of build quality, in terms of display and all other stuff, it's a big and noticeable improvement over the previous version of player. Actually, here is another size comparison. As you can see, screen size is almost the same, but player is noticeably bigger and heavier. But of course it's because of case material. But anyway, there are modern technologies allows to create really efficient dub with actually not dub, allows to create dub with really efficient front panel usage. Player's firmware is still based on the Android Oreo, same as for DX200, DX150, but this player has an ace in a sleeve, and this ace is a new internal audio architecture that allows all applications bypass Android audio stack and avoid resampling. If application doesn't resample signal itself, it should play bit perfect. I didn't validate that, but I think it should be working. And also another notable feature that it supports MQA, rendering and unfolding, and all in the internal Mango app, and also in the Tidal, so you can stream Tidal with the resolution up to 72 kHz, and I think it's impressive. So now I don't have to use the UAPP for the Tidal. Of course, bigger screen resolution causes more load on the CPU, but additional 2 GB of RAM, I think, smoothes all that. Probably it won't be the fastest Android device, but I got no issues with speed. Everything works smoothly. But actually I'm not a heavy Android user, so for me internal player it's almost all that I need. Also it doesn't have Google Play services, at least yet, but I think it will be easily fixed by you know whom. Of course we are waiting for the Lurker's firmware. But definitely the main feature is the new Mango player and new Mango mode. It was updated to be more sleek, more modern, with better interface, but actually, as you can see, cover looks really great. But also iBasso definitely improved media library. Actually, there is familiar groupings: all music, album, artist, genre, now playing, and playlist, or you can navigate with swipes. I really like this album with cover flow mode. All covers look really great. You know, I just spent like 5 minutes looking how good some album covers are. But most interesting feature here is that you can tweak almost everything in this media library. All other dApps are definitely missing this feature. So first of all, you can select what buttons you need and what you don't need. If you don't want, for example, playlist, you can tap and no more playlists here. Also, you can select all music view sorting, album view settings, thumbnail or artwork, and same for the artist view and now playing view sorting. You can change the sort order. Also here you can access your media library in the file mode if you don't like organization by tags. What else I can say? Of course, you can long press to add file to playlist or delete it. It's obvious. Also now playing screen, actually it's now playing screen with big album cover. You can see additional track information if you'd like, and you can change play order. Also you can tweak a lot of settings. Gain plus playback, gain, actually now it has 3 levels of gain, and it's great for the sensitive in-ear monitors users. Even with really sensitive models, this player works pretty nicely. It's a great accomplishment. Play mode, equalizer, I will show it a bit later. Left right balance, if you need you can turn it on and change. Looking really nice, but of course let's turn it off. Let's go back. Digital filter, you just select the one you need. And advanced settings, USB digital to analog converter mode. Actually this player is great for those who need a digital to analog converter, because it has a separate XMOS chip, and so it's one of the best implementations of the USB digital to analog converter without big issues. Sleep timer, scanning, media library scan is really fast. 128 GB card was scanned in about a minute and a half. And system information, but let's move back. And I promised to show you the equalizer. There are 2 equalizers that you can enable. Graphic equalizer, it's pretty familiar, just move this great gold handles. I really like this idea of skeuomorphism here, and you can change the sound if you like. Or you can turn it off. And parametric equalizer, actually it's much more interesting scene. You can select up to 6 filters, and for each filter you can select its frequency, gain for this frequency, and type of filter. So there are 8 filter types, so I think proud owners of DX220 will spend a lot of time googling about what that filters mean. You can enter the frequency manually, or you can just drag this color dot to perfectly tune your equalizer. So let me select some other filter type. As you can see, everything is really visual and really convenient for tuning, so you can definitely shape this sound and the representation whatever you like. And actually what I really like about equalizer here, probably iBasso implemented it better than in DX200, and actually it's almost its work is almost not noticeable. Of course there is pop-up, traditional for the Android operation system, where you can change some options, and in settings there are some additional tweaks that you can engage. So Bluetooth, here you can change, and actually here you can change the receiver mode for the Bluetooth if you need it. And audio settings, it's auto mute, optical output, gain, digital filter. So if you need there is that settings can be tuned in the Mango application, but you can change them in the options. And features that many were asking for, you can actually change what you want, the order of buttons. It can be next or previous button, and same for this. You just select what option you'd like, and long war is over. Both sides can have what they want. Also it supports online update. Here you can go to the updater, and if it will be connected to the Wi-Fi, you can update the firmware. iBasso usually updates firmware frequently, so I think there won't be any issues with that. And you can, as usual, reboot it to the Mango mode. No Android will be running in the background, just pure player and with minimum set of services, so it would be faster and it will be better for the battery. In this mode usually you can get up to 1 hour of battery lifetime, but of course it depends on the load and other related things. Interface is pretty similar, with a bit difference. It reminds DX220, so artists, albums, genres, directory, so everything familiar for those who've seen iBasso DX120. Actually, I didn't scan media library in this mode. Here you can also turn on and off gapless, gain, play mode, equalizer. Unfortunately, in this mode only regular graphic equalizer is present, no parametric yet. Maybe it will be added a bit later. And in the advanced mode, digital tonal converter, button settings, optical output, language, display, power management, media library scan, and you can reboot to the Android operation system. So I really like this firmware. Of course, it's lacking Google Play services, but besides that, it's really mature, really nice, and runs pretty smoothly without big issues. And of course, about the sound. iBasso is well known for their skill in creating powerful portable amplifiers, and DX220 is not an exception. Actually, in terms of power, Amp1 is pretty close to the stock Amp1, but it's still pretty impressive. I don't remember exact figures, but it's more than 300 milliwatts for 32 ohm load from single-ended output, and something close to 1 watt from balanced output. So it's really powerful. And actually with stock DX200 it was a bit of an issue, because with sensitive IEMs it has a bit of background noise. But in this player, iBasso implemented 3 stages of gain, and now you can easily adapt it to all your in-ear monitors. If you need a lot of power for full-size headphones, you can turn on high gain. For the sensitive models, middle or low gain will be pretty okay. And even with really sensitive models, I think now it's time to put some in-ear monitors to serve as an example. So yeah, it's one of the most sensitive in-ear monitors in my collection. Even with them, there is almost zero background noise, so I really like that. And sonically, it's still almost natural dub with good resolution, but now they've shift its signature a bit. They've added a bit of warmth to the signature. It's not warm and it's not even close, just a small hint of warmth that gives more natural and organic sound, and at the same time it became more forgiving to the low quality records. Of course, I'm holding it wrong, so here it is. So bass is great, it goes deep, it has great resolution, texturing, it's perfectly controlled, and all that I can say about it. And it has just a slight accent that adds that warmth that I've mentioned. It has texturing, it has resolution, so everything that you can expect from the low frequencies it has. And actually this player, thanks to this parametric equalizer, you can change as much lows as you want. You can add them, you can subtract them, so whatever you like you will have. As an example, for the low frequencies, I've got really great group, Necic. It's a Polish avant-garde jazz band. If you like some unusual jazz, I definitely recommend this group to you. I mentioned it in reviews a few times already, but this is a great track both in terms of material and in terms of record quality. It has really a lot of a lot of drums with low kicks, and methanol is a great example. And actually this player managed to represent this track in all its glory, and paired with some good in-ear monitors like Solaris, you can definitely hear all that rumble, all that body of these instruments. Mids are totally natural, without almost any coloration, just a bit of above mentioned warmth, but it's just a really small amount, but it makes player more forgiving to the poorly recorded tracks, just a little bit actually, compared with DX200, because DX200 with stock amplifier is totally unforgiving for those who like to hear all the tiny nuances. Here you will also hear the nuances, but player won't make additional highlighting of that micro details. And also it's really great in terms of staging. It even overperforms stock DX200. It has better depth and layering, I think first mainly because of blacker background, and also it has good width, really spacious soundstage with three-dimensional positioning and And as an example, the most famous piece from the Jesus Christ Superstar, I only want to say great vocal, because it's the greatest performer in the original version. It's the nice accompaniment, and actually I think I don't have to describe this track, just listen to it if you didn't hear it, but I'm pretty sure that you did. And actually DX220 gave me shivers with this track, because it sounds really emotional, really natural, really enjoyable. And treble, it's really similar to the DX200. It's linear without any coloration, with really great extension, with normal attacks and decays, with normal layering, not superb but normal. So I think it's one of the best dubs in terms of treble ever, and probably the best in this price range, and thanks to that it has all that necessary overtones and all the related things. And as an example, yep, The Doors, Unhappy Girl. I really like these tiny bells at the intro section of this track, and they sound really crisp and really well detailed here. So I won't go deep into sound description. I think you've got an idea. It's still probably not one of the two most technical and dubs in this price range. Second one is QLS 361, but I will speak about compressions a bit later. This is really universal dub in terms of amplification, so you will have enough of driving power for power-hungry planars, for example. It really performs well with Mesa Empyrean, for example. Not superb, but really well for the portable dub. And it plays nicely with sensitive and ear monitors, and it gives you natural, uncolored, really natural sound. So in terms of sonic performance, everything is also great. And a few brief words about comparisons. You know, out of all the dubs that I own, only few can be compared with DX220. QLS 361, for example, it's a bit more natural and a bit more resolving, but at the same time, of course, it's lacking all that features, and it sounds a bit less weighty, so it requires better tracks. So it's a bit of different representation for those who like absolutely natural and uncolored sound. Comparing with the X200, I don't have stock 200, just titanium one, but the X200 is more on the brighter side, a bit colder, and titanium is even going further in this direction. It's even more brighter and a bit even bit more colder. It has more accent on the micro detalization, while this one offers more organic representation, and it's a bit step in the other side, and I think it's really good step, because many will prefer that signature. And of course it's noticeable upgrade in terms of features and in terms of design and those other related things. Opus number 2, it's a bit different representation too. It's a step towards more organic, more warmer, more colored and more fun representation. As to Kern Futura, you know, honestly, DX220 is better in almost all aspects for the less price. FIOS X7 Mark II, well, DX220 overperform it, and it's a better dub, but I think it's expected because X7 Mark II is already a bit of outdated, and probably FIOS soon will announce some other flagship. So that's the model I can remember. Of course, flagship dubs like Lotopov Gold Touch, Kane N8 and SP1000 are even better, but their price is much higher. So to summarize everything, I think iBasso tick all possible marks in the modern dub checklist, because you will have almost everything. Normal battery lifetime, great screen, fast, efficient operation system with support of media. You will get everything that you will need. USB digital to analog converter with a sophisticated clock system and separate USB chip to get the best sound quality and lowest possible delays. You will have bidirectional Bluetooth with LDAC support. You will have USB on the go support, ability to stream digital signal to the outer digital to analog converters, efficient software, good player, 2 mods, support of streaming media, support of MQA, so everything that you can expect from the modern dub. And at the same time, you know, for the pretty modest price, of course, $900 is expensive, but almost every other manufacturer will ask more for such player. So DX220 will be probably one of the biggest dubs of this year. Thank you for attention.